Shakti. I am the co founder of Spiritual Alignment. I'm a holistic trauma healer. And my talk is really centered around celebration of life. We have heard a lot of trauma stories today, which has been very inspirational. Um, Me standing here is a miracle. 42 years ago, around this time, 42 years ago, my mom had me in her belly. She was a few months away from giving birth, and she did not know whether I will make it. She had 3 miscarriages, a stillbirth, and right after that stillbirth, I was conceived. So my mom never believed that she could actually do this thing, give birth to a living baby. And somehow, in that whole ordeal of fear and survival, she went into a pretty deep emotional freeze. And with her, I went into a freeze. And guess what? In her belly, I stopped moving. A normal baby in the belly moves, I don't know, like 50 times a day. There's a lot of movement. I stopped moving and I stopped feeling. It was so overwhelming to be in that space, not knowing what will happen. And years later, I found out after spending, a decade of healing, I found out that my mom wasn't planning on living. She was so much feeling her grief. She was so much weighed down by her grief. And with her, I wasn't planning on living. And we both were just stuck. Kind of that state where you're not here and you're not here. Like you're stuck somewhere in the middle, but you can't go back and you don't think you can move forward. And honestly, this is how I live my most life. I did not know why I was having these suicidal thoughts, why every little thing was so intimidating, challenging, overwhelming that I would just like give up. I can't do it. I'll find somebody else. And feeling this like sense of disability inside me. It was hard. And growing up, while I grew up in India, it's the land of goddesses, if you know. There are over 1,000,000 goddesses in India. Each goddess has her own medicine, her own story, her own unique way of serving the world. Yet, I grew up around women who were unhappy. And if you know anything about Indian culture, leaving a marriage, leaving a relationship is never an option. You just can't leave. So the best advice they gave to each other, well, tolerate. Work on tolerating the pain more and more. So that's what I did. I learned to tolerate my pain. I learned to hold it all inside me. And on top of it, survival kicked in, and the advice was like, well, just, get the degrees, get a job, make some money, get onto your 2 feet so that you can be independent and you'll be all set. So I went in a very long slumber, in that freeze, the emotional freeze, the physical freeze, this tolerance of pain. And that slumber was so hard that when my parents starting to check out of their parenting responsibility, like being there but not really being there for us, as kids, I didn't say a word. When my mother physically abused me, I didn't say a word. I kept crying and tolerating. Well, when I was in a very abusive relationship before I met my husband, I didn't say a word. And when my partner was so mad at me for leaving him, he raped me, he abused me to teach me a lesson. I still kept tolerating all of that. And that slumber was so deep. And only one thing that could really break that, which was really the love. Love that, the lack of love is what created my slumber. And the moment I met my husband in 2011 is when I saw hope. I saw hope that, well, maybe there's another way of being where I don't have to tolerate all of this. So fast forward in my story, we married, we have 2 kids. I learned a lot from my kids, and I had the opportunity to spend the last 10 years working on my healing to really bring myself back to life. I had the honor of working with amazing clients. And one thing I learned that, you know, a lot of what is unseen in our life, a lot of what is not understood in our life really rules our life the most. So, energy is everything. Before we have feelings or thoughts or emotions, there is energy affecting us. So, I dedicated the last 10 years learning the language of energy, which is intuition, and connecting with my spirit to really receive that direct guidance of the spirit to lead me to love. And that has been tremendously healing. That has been life changing for me and for the clients that I work with. And really, when it comes to working on trauma or overcoming trauma, the love is becomes the medicine, not the love that we know at the human level. A lot of times we feel like we are loving, but some it just energy just creeps in that takes us away from love. And the spirit, when she comes forward, she really guides us to that purest form of love that we are worthy of receiving. That is our birthright as human beings, to walk on the planet, to be this embodiment of love. And in my experience, that has been held profound healing for me. So I invite you, all of you have, many of you have stories, you have worked through trauma. My invitation to you today is to really give that spirit, give that love, the front seat in your life and see how your life transforms from here.